Beverages here are all brewed by the brewmaster Django himself. Try them all.
Sorry about this one, but I couldn't think about a better way to start a review of this game. I just can't stop laughing at this NPC, and every time I started talking about the game, I had to mention her first. But I shouldn't get too sidetracked. My Time at Portia is a colorful slice-of-life simulator where you inherit your past neglected workshop, and judging by his letter and the comments the main character makes, the workshop isn't the only thing that he neglected, and he might possibly be a drunk. But at least the other MCs in the game are better. To an odd degree, they all seem a bit too friendly. It feels more like an idyllic representation of a perfect community than a real simulator. But who cares about that stuff? I'm here to chop down trees, mine for ore, and try to befriend that hot blonde NPC that sells sweets. To do that, I had to build up my workshop. It wasn't hard to get started. The game is quite straightforward, and you get quests that you do to progress the story, during which you get to know how the game works. It isn't complicated if you played any games like Harvest Moon or Minecraft. You go around chopping down wood or mine different types of ore. You use those to build many different things like bridges or workstations that are used to make even more tools that you can again use to make even better constructions, even cars. All this to get to that all sought after end goal of being the best builder in the town. But let me be honest for a moment. The motivation to do so are quite flimsy. There is only this one guy that looks like he came out of every 90s sports movie ever. He is the best in town, has an antagonistic view for anything you do, and is generally a douchebag. And beating him is the only reason why I strived to become the #1 builder, which I, of course, didn't care about that much, and I ditched that after an hour of playtime. What I did instead is explore the surrounding of the town and go into caves, which I searched for hidden rooms and materials, which I used to get money and grow my estate, which was much more fun than chase up the #1 goal and finish the game. If you do the same, you will get to experience the sandbox through and through, but with RPG elements thrown into the mix. You can decide if you want to specialize into battle, gathering, or being social. Battle gives bonuses to combat, like more damage, resistance, or just overall bonus experience that you get from combat. Gathering talents work like you basically would think they do. They reduce the cost of course, gathering, and increase the overall efficiency with which the character does so. And of course, in the end, social. It just increases the reputation that you gain while interacting with other NPCs. And to my surprise, it is actually quite well done, and it can drastically affect a playthrough depending on what talents you choose. I myself picked the gathering talents because I felt like playing a crafting game, and it actually delivered. I spent over 6 hours going in and out of the dungeons of Portia, just going in circles, collecting materials, building stuff, selling it, upgrading, and so on. There are many things that you can craft, but you can't find all of these materials in the overworld. That is why you must delve into the caves and find long-lost data disks that hold blueprints that belong to the old civilization, which can range from upgrades to your current workstation or just new items in general. And the data disks are quite rare. Sometimes I only got 5 or 6, spending all of my stamina digging. Now, the funny thing is, these blueprints are from an age-long past, and if I got it right, this game is actually a post-apocalyptic game. Yes, but let me explain for a moment. There is a church that specializes in destroying weapons from the old civilization and even data disks that you collect in the old ruins. After you talk with them, they explain that the old civilization actually destroyed itself when it focused too much on weapons, and after that, people lived underground for ages before emerging out again much later to retake the surface. And this is where the game is set, so quite interesting when you actually go a bit into it. I do recommend talking to NPCs for this reason, and because many of them are actually quite well written, even though not that well voiced. I know that it is still early access and an indie game to boot, but I did want to mention this after all. On the side note, if you remember the start of the game, yeah, that is not the only annoying NPC.
It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
But there are many good ones to make up for it, so if just one can break the game for you, just skip it. Another thing that I have to mention, with this game being early access and all, I encountered a few bugs in the game, some actually quite hilarious and some being game breaking, like a whole part of the map missing and the character falling down through it. I didn't mind it greatly, but it did stop me from finishing a side quest. On the other hand, the game looks gorgeous. It looks quite nice for an indie early access game, and this is actually a compliment. I even enjoyed running around or just chopping down trees while watching the grass sway while the wind blows through it. Together with the chipper music in the background, it made the game feel so carefree, which is a great thing if you just want to spend an hour or two relaxing in the town of Portia. So, to wrap this all up, my time at Portia is different enough to stand out from other games of this type, but that can be a bad thing too. If you are new to this genre of game, you might like it a lot, but if you played Minecraft before or Harvest Moon, it can feel like something that you have already played. This doesn't mean that the game is without its own charm. The town of Portia seems always alive, and the NPCs are a treat if you get more into the game. So if this sounds good to you, you should go and get it. And as always, goodbye and thanks for listening.